Hello, once again, this is Antonio, and I'm coming at you with another exciting video. Okay, so in this video, what we like to speak about is plain and simple. Plain and simple. Judge Bryant is trying to run this gentleman aside. She's trying to listen to the attorney. The problem is he's in direct violation for the tether they'd already have on him. And his attorney is trying to live the curfew that's on him. But guess what? He's already in jail for the violation. So as the attorney and Judge Bryant are going back and forth, the defendant is muted. It's a whole big ball of malarkey that was going on. People kept walking back and forth to the camera. The camera of the defendant goes off. Judge Bryant was losing her marbles at all of the occurrences that was going on in this case. It was like, what are y'all doing and why are y'all doing it? But nonetheless, let's dive into the content and then we'll come back with our opinions in the end.
Today is the day Mr. Evans was brought before the court on a tether violation. I've had an opportunity to review the tether violation request, and it says that Mr. Evans wasn't abiding by his curfew. He was in the exclusion zone, and so forth and so forth. Miss Stevenson.
Your Honor, Mr. Evans advises me that he did go to a location about 1 full city block away from the address that he's prohibited from going to. He went to a public place, Your Honor, because that's the last place where he had his wallet. So he was at a location about a block away from the prohibited address, looking for his wallet, admits that is within the exclusion zone. He says he got a phone
I was
call.
wondering, how was his wallet in the exclusion zone? That's what I was wondering.
That's the last place that he remembers having his wallet before he was arrested.
No, he was saying it was still there. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Stevenson.
It wasn't. He did not find it there. He's since learned that they actually have his wallet in police custody, get a place to stay. And he was arrested. Mr. Evans actually told me he was arrested on the 2nd. He made it over to the Wayne County Jail by the 4th, which was yesterday, but he was actually, he says, taken into custody on the 7th, having had absolutely no contact with the prohibited address or the individual, the complaining witness, with whom he's prohibited from having any contact. Mr. Evans expressed to me he knows that he's scheduled to be in 36th District Court for a pretrial conference on March 6th at 8:30 a.m. He says he'll come to court in person. As soon as he did not go to the prohibited address, and as soon as he was told to leave the exclusion zone, he says he did that. Spent 2 days in jail for not quickly and fully complying with the tether agent's orders. So I would ask the court at this point to dismiss the tether violation. I'd ask the court to consider removing the tether, Your Honor.
Why is the jail off video? All right. So he didn't spend 2 days in jail for not, what the devil? I guess that's why they was off video. Because they said, we gonna bring some other people in here. Okay, don't worry, it's all right. He wasn't in jail because he didn't quickly comply with the tether unit's request. That was a courtesy. That was a courtesy for them to call him and say, hey, I always feel like I can't say anything when the jail do stuff like this. Because remember when it was my defendant that destroyed the camera? Okay. There's one of my defendants in here that destroyed that camera. Okay, so he spent 2 days in jail because he went in the exclusion zone twice and violated his curfew. That's why he went in jail, not because he didn't comply quick enough. Ms. Ritter, any response?
Judge, as to the curfew violation, I didn't see that actually delineated. It looks like when they got him, it was 7 o'clock in the morning, which is, that's within the curfew. So I didn't see the curfew violation, Judge.
Well, hold on. I thought, okay, so where did I get that from? I pulled it out of a hat.
No, I think they said that he's not abiding by his court-ordered curfew and that he entered the exclusion zone. But they said that it was on February 2nd, 2024 at 7 a.m. And I think his curfew.
No, they said they didn't say, well, it says see attached, but I didn't see anything attached. Let me just say that. It's just mentioned in the report that he was violating his curfew. They didn't say how, because they said see attached, and the attached wasn't attached.
Okay. The register says the tether is 10 p.m. to 7 a.m.
What I'm saying to you, Ms. Stevenson, is you have no idea what they're saying about him violating the curfew, because they never tell us exactly what time. They said on 2 separate occasions he violated the curfew and he was in the exclusion zone. But it's no, other than them mentioning it, it's no proof of it, because I don't see the attached.
And yeah, I think we're saying the same thing, that they don't have anything in support of the allegation that he's violated the curfew.
Okay. And then when they arrested him at 700 hours, or they said on February 2nd, they noticed he wasn't abiding by the thing, or February 4th. And then the jail unmutes. Okay, so that's that. Ms. Ritter, any response?
Yeah, so just according to the report, I'm just going to ask the court to continue Mr. Evans' bond and not remove the tether at this time.
All right, so here's the thing. This is how I feel about tethers. I don't know that they're necessary for these types of cases. Right. And then when the magistrate puts a person on a tether, sometimes they get to me right away and ask me to remove the tether. And then sometimes they don't get to me right away. And then when they don't get to me right away and the defendant is on tether and they violate the tether, then I say, oh, they probably should be on tether, because they're violating the tether. They're not following the instructions. The fact that he thought that his wallet was in the exclusion zone is no excuse for going into the exclusion zone. His wallet could have been on the porch of the person who he's prohibited from being in contact with. And guess where his wallet was going to stay? On the porch of the person he's prohibited from being in contact with, unless and until he got permission from the court to go to the porch to get his wallet. But what we don't do is go in the exclusionary zone without permission, saying, oh, I was looking for my wallet. Who cares? Of course I'm going to take his word for it. Oh, of course I'm not. Of course I'm not going to take his word for it, because there's no reason to go into the exclusionary zone. I really want the county to stop. I just want them to stop. So I don't even know why I don't even know why we would put a jailer in a place where other jailers are going to have to walk in front of them 100 times to be on camera for court. So let's just shorten this up, because that is probably going to send my rocket up to the moon the next time they walk past in front of the camera, or turn off the camera immediately while I'm talking to a defendant. So that's just ridiculous, but it's an issue I suppose I'll have to take up with Chief Dunlap. I'm not going to remove the tether. Anything further, the tether remains.
So thank you, Your Honor.
The bond is reinstated. The tether remains. We'll see him on his next court date. Ms. Stevenson, you're muted if you're talking.
Thank you, Judge. Could we have the curfew canceled if the tether remains?
Yeah, I guess so. But well, he was violating the curfew though. He wasn't paying attention to the curfew. No, anyway, he needs to follow instructions. He needs to learn how to follow rules. But well, we can't, no, they won't let us just take away the curfew. They want us to have a curfew. So what is his current curfew?
So I would ask who is they, but the curfew is 10 p.m. to 7 a.m.
What you mean, who is they? The people who do the tether so that they can monitor whether the people are in compliance with the tethers.
So
he need a curfew. So if you bring that issue up on somebody who wasn't violating the curfew.
I understand, but okay. The curfew said it's gonna let the tether, it's gonna let the police know and the jail know whether or not Mr. Evans is someplace where he's not supposed to be. So, and
during
it's working.
Hours that he's not supposed to be there. He's gonna have a tether. What does he need to be out in the middle of the night for?
I don't know that he needs to be out in the middle of the night, but I don't know that there's
the tether. He should have stayed in the house then. He should have stayed in, and then I would remove the tether today. But he didn't. So what
Mr. Evans does actually, I don't have any work on here or anything like that. So that's my argument, that the incident is alleged to have occurred. Sorry.
All I asked you was, what is his current curfew? Mr. Flanagan, what's the current curfew?
I'm showing 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. Your Honor.
All right, so who you? He looked like he yelling at me. I ain't gonna appreciate it, but the jail can unmute.
Mr. Evans.
Look like he's yelling at me and slamming his hands down.
Mr.
I don't have.
All right, Mr. Evans. Please, Mr. Evans, please protect your right against self-incrimination and remain silent, sir.
Well, the reason he violating the curfew is because he just told me he doesn't have a curfew, which means that he was probably talking when the magistrate gave him the curfew and he wasn't paying attention to getting the curfew. So he has a curfew from 10
I don't.
to you do. Stop saying it. You do. You did.
I have my paper that says no curfew, Your Honor.
Mr. Evans, please protect your right against self-incrimination.
Well, then I'm not going to, since he has a paper that said he didn't have a curfew, then he can go with that. And then they can pick him up again. Because he don't want to listen. He doesn't want to listen. So he can keep telling me what he didn't have. He don't want to listen. So this is what I'm going to say. The bond remains the same then. And if he think he doesn't have a curfew because he doesn't want to listen, then he's going to go back out there and get arrested again. He's going to go back out there and get arrested again. So it's no need for me to change what he doesn't think he already has.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No, Mr. Flanagan, don't put in the chat that there's a curfew from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. because he said he didn't have a curfew. I was going to change the curfew, but he said he didn't have one. And so everybody thinks he has one except him. So the imaginary curfew that the magistrate set from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. remains in effect. But to Mr. Evans, it's imaginary. Anything further?
Nothing on behalf of Mr. Evans, but if Mr. Evans, if he could go back to the breakout room, then I could answer any questions that he has.
Okay, so sometimes it's best to incriminate yourself, plead the fifth, and allow your attorney to fight on your matter. This gentleman, just like he's being defiant and violating curfew, He's being defiant and not listening as his attorney repeatedly said, stand down. Not verbatim, but that's what she said. But what did he do? He kept screaming even while the video was on mute. Sometimes just fall back. You don't have to say anything. Keeping it real goes wrong. Stop it. Nevertheless, this is Antonio with Team Tiggio. Please like, comment, subscribe, as we'll be coming to you more videos in the future. And once again, we'll see you in the next